What's up YouTube, 8Bandy back again, and today we are going to play through Super Star Wars on the SNES. Now, the first thing to note is that I've already got myself a blaster power up right at the very start of the game. Now, the trick to doing that is on the very first rock, shoot every single scorpion that comes out of that rock and you'll get a blaster power up. I would have shown it, but it can take a couple of minutes, so it's kind of dull. There's another place like that in this level where you can shoot a lot of enemies in one spot and get the blaster power up again and get the next weapon up. And in Super Star Wars, getting the blaster power ups is essential because this game is pretty difficult and you need the strongest gun that you can possibly get. So if you can get upgraded from the start, it's a good idea. Now, the problem with these games, and you'll already know this if you've ever played them, is they're somewhat unfair and kind of cheap at times. Now, the reason I'm still here shooting all these Womp Rats is similar to the bit I did at the start where I got the blaster upgrade. If you shoot them all, then eventually, he says, hopefully, a blaster will appear above you. I'm going to start checking my watch in a minute if this doesn't sort itself out. Maybe I'll edit this out. Oh, there we go. Right, so now we've got the Heat Seeker gun. Now that's an awesome gun, and there should be another power up here. Yeah, right, so that gives us the third gun along. I don't know what it's called, but Rapid Iron. Now, that's a pretty powerful gun, and it's very powerful to have it at this stage of the game. So, yeah, when you start the game, get that weapon. As you can see, we're on Tatooine. The game, one of the big strengths of this game is that it does follow the movie pretty closely, especially for sort of old school 16-bit game. A lot of the movie tie-in games back then were really random and sort of, all sorts of stuff were thrown into them. Certainly, I mean, looking at like Turtles that I played the other week on the NES, a lot of the enemies are just totally random. They don't really fit the franchise. With this, it really does sort of follow the movies brilliantly well. And if you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to forgive this game a lot of its problems. And it does have numerous problems. So, yeah, it's definitely the strongest of the trilogy though. If you're going to play one on the SNES, get this one. You can pretty much, I mean, you need to be a big fan of Star Wars to enjoy the other ones. I'm a massive Star Wars fan. I've not finished either of them, so yeah. Anyway, we're approaching the first boss, I believe, which is the Sarlacc Pit Monster, which Star Wars fans will know is actually from Return of the Jedi, but it is on Tatooine, so it does fit somewhat with the setting. He sort of pops out of the sand and throws stuff at you. Now, if you're in range, he also hits you with his arms, but he's way away from me, and he's actually being very generous. Sometimes he can pop up loads of different times right in your face and trap you in the corners and stuff. But bearing in mind we've got the weapon power up, it's a piece of cake to do it. So yeah, there's the first stage clear. Sip of tea. It's morning time for me, and I'm fresh out of bed. So this game's got awesome cutscenes. I won't make you sit through them all, but if you enjoy sort of 16-bit interpretations of movies, this is really cool. And we are on to level 2. Now, level 2 is one of those Mode 7 affairs, and there's a couple of levels like this in the game, including the last level. Now, the aim of it is you've got to shoot the Jawas. If you look in the top right of the screen, there's a counter, so I've got to get 9 more of them to finish the level. It's really straightforward, and it's kind of fun. I'm glad they included it, like it's good for variation, but I mean, it's not, it's not brilliant, but it does mix things up just a little bit. So anyway, 5 Jawas left to kill. That's a Womp Rat, don't need that. As a kid, I always enjoyed these Mode 7 sections because I just thought the graphics were cool. I mean, the SNES Mode 7 chip was pretty awesome, and they did try and integrate it into a lot of games. If you're playing like Super Probotector or Super Castlevania, there's Mode 7 bits in there. Very cool. Alright, so that's all the Jawas cleared up. We can now fly towards the Sandcrawler. I tend to take off. Alright, so we've made it to the Sandcrawler. And yeah, now this level gets on everyone's nerves, and it's for good reason. What you've got to do, other than slaughter the Jawas, is climb up the side of it and get in the top, and it's really easy to fall down. And if you fall down, you've got to start again, and it sucks. And there's a time limit as well, which shouldn't be a problem if you don't fall down. if you fall down once, you're fine. If you keep falling, you can get into trouble with time. The trouble is with this game, I mean, I'm going to bring up numerous problems with this game as I play it, but one of the big problems is the jump mechanics are a bit iffy. And there's some sections where you need to be very accurate with your jumps, and it's very unforgiving. You shall see as we go on. So, yeah, I just grabbed another blaster power-up actually, which gives me the plasma gun, which is the strongest gun in the game. Now, if you can keep this gun, if you don't die, this gun makes the game a whole lot easier. So hopefully we can keep it for as long as possible. So far so good, making good progress up the sandcrawler. I've got a habit of falling on like the second to last jump on this, I seem to remember, so yeah, if that happens I'll probably edit it out and climb back up again, we'll see. He just threw a thermal detonator at me then, which almost took me off the edge. I don't remember the Jawas having thermal detonators in the film, am I wrong? Whew. That was a bit close. The other thing, of course, is you've got to deal with the enemies, and if they hit you, they knock you back. I mean, it's not like Castlevania levels of knocking you back, but they do take you off the edge sometimes, which can be really annoying. There's bits when you get into the sandcrawler. There's some really awkward bits where it's instant death jumps, and you've got to compete with getting knocked over, and yeah, it's kind of a pain. All right, I think like 2 more jumps and we're at the top, so almost there. Okay, good. So along the top here, you want to be, what I tend to do is jump over the shots and don't try and take out the guns, because it can just really rinse your life. Almost there. Yeah, and jump inside the sandcrawler. Stage clear. So far so good. Alright, inside the sandcrawler. Now this is a level where a lot of people give up on the game. This game is a game, unfortunately, of difficulty spikes, and we're going to find a few as we go along, and this is one of them. And it's early on, and the checkpoint system's cruel, so yeah, this bit can defeat you if you're not careful. What I just picked up then was a health sword. Now, a health sword, if you look in the top left, Luke's got a life bar which looks like a lightsaber. That is, yeah, that can be upgraded by grabbing health swords. However, they don't carry over, I don't think, between levels. Your gun upgrades do. There's another gun upgrade there, by the way, but I don't need it. Yeah, so getting your health swords together as you go through the levels can really help, especially on bosses. A lot of the bosses in this game are difficult, and a lot of them are kind of like a war of attrition, where you can't really avoid their hits, you just have to accept the fact you're going to take hits. And yeah, you just need to outlast them almost. The boss on this level, I think, certainly is one of those. Another thing that happens in this game when you shoot some enemies, like those gun things, when they blow up, they sort of shatter parts everywhere, and if the parts hurt you, it can be so annoying. So you need to keep an eye on that. And the game is kind of unusual in that it constantly gives you life. Like every enemy that dies gives you a heart, more or less. But most of the enemies chip a little bit of life off you as well, like one way or another. So it's this kind of constant back and forth between having enough life and not having enough. Yeah, it's quite an unusual mechanic. But you want to be grabbing the hearts that are dropped as you go, for sure. Now, as you can see, I'm sort of coasting through this bit fairly well, and the reason for that is because I've got the plasma gun. If you do this bit, like say you die and you have to come back through here with the original laser, yeah, it can be a real pain. So, yeah, worth trying to keep your upgrades if possible. I believe where we've just got to now is the checkpoint, it's the first one. And if you die on the boss, that's where it puts you back. And as you'll see as I come down here, the boss isn't here yet. It's quite a way to go. You don't have to take these lasers out along the roof if you don't want, but I tend to. There's a bit in a minute where you seem to find yourself short of life. These things can be fucking annoying. Come on, you fucker. Fucking hell. Anyway, that's, yeah. Alright, so dealing with these guns, they can be a bit of a pain if you haven't got like a different weapon that can kind of deflect the shots. The plasma gun, the best gun, it doesn't deflect, so it can be a little bit more awkward, but once you get the first one out of the way, it is okay. So what happens here is this level has like a halfway boss, which we're about to get to now, and yeah, if you get that out of the way, you just got a series of really annoying jumps to do, and yeah, you're through the level. Well, you're through to the boss of the level, who does his best to knock you into the instant death pit, and he can be a little bit frustrating. Hopefully, we get through fairly unscathed. We'll see. I'm gonna have to talk about the new Star Wars film in a minute, but let's get this bit out of the way. I won't. Don't worry if I do. I won't say any spoilers at all, because I know a lot of you guys probably won't have seen it still. Alright, so that was the halfway boss. Again, piece of cake if you've got the if you've got the gun upgrade. So along here you get given a lot of health swords, and yeah, there's a good reason for that. You're going to need them, and this bit here is an instant death if you don't run to the right. Yeah, everybody falls in there the first time they play it. It's one of the classically unfair bits of this game. Bit Mega Man-like there. Alright, so here's the last boss. You need to stay out of the sand. Now he does his best to knock you in by firing this, his shot at you, but as long as you keep on top of him and you've got the plasma gun, your life bar will outlast his. And if you keep sort of stepping forward, he shouldn't knock you in. He can nearly, as you can see, he's nearly knocking me in. It's so weird, this bit, right? Sometimes if you fall in, you just die, and other times you seem to just be able to like jump in and out really quickly. I got away with one there, but I'll take that. Help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope. So this is where you first meet Obi-Wan, and he gives you the lightsaber. Alright, so we're on to the third level, Land of the Sand People. Now, there's a trick on this level that will make it possible for anyone to finish this game, and I'll show you that. There is a way of getting 99 lives, and bloody hell, I thought I just stepped off the edge then. Yeah, there's a way of getting 99 lives, and it's really straightforward. And if you've got 99 lives, I mean, even on the unfair parts of this game, you should have enough lives to get through it. I won't collect 99 today, I'll just get a few, but yeah, it's a good trick. So anyway, let's talk about the new Star Wars movie. As I say, no spoilers, don't worry. I won't give anything away. I just got to say though, like, I'm a massive Star Wars fan. I always have been. I first watched A New Hope when not when it came out, I'm too young for that, but I was plonked in front of it as a kid. And yeah, I really loved it. I'm a huge fan. And I was terrified, especially after what happened with the prequels. And I went in feeling very cynical. And I'm always worried when anyone remakes anything from my childhood or uses a license from my childhood that I'm fond of, like like Ninja Turtles or Transformers or Ghostbusters or whatever. I kind of like these things to be left alone. So with Star Wars prequels being such a complete disaster, and yeah, all that taken into account, I was terrified the new movie was going to be not really poor. And that's despite, I like J.J. Abrams. I think J.J. Abrams is cool. Anyway, yeah, went to see it, and I've got to say, J.J. Abrams absolutely nailed it. He got more or less everything he could have got right. The tone, the storyline, the actors. I mean, the lead girl who plays Rey is just phenomenally good. And the movie as a whole, the storyline, it's just the right level of dark. There's a little bit of humour in there. There's nods to the old films without it being sort of over the top. Honestly, I can't sing its praises enough. I'm sure a lot of you will have seen it, but if you haven't, I would say avoid spoilers at all costs. And yeah, just enjoy really. I mean, I've actually been to the cinema to see it twice because, well, the last time I went to see a movie at the cinema twice, it was 1993. I was like 11 or 12, and it was to see Jurassic Park. And then since then, I've never done a double cinema trip. And this movie got me to go back. So, yeah, I could probably talk for the entire playthrough about how good the new Star Wars movie is. But yeah, that wouldn't be much fun. Alright, this is where, this part of the game, so obviously you're slaying sand people. Luke is cross because they killed his aunt and Uncle Owen. Alright, yeah, so anyway, you drop down. When you get to the second edge that looks like this, with the jumps, you ignore the jumps, you drop down and head left. And even here, if you shoot the air, a series of extra lives will appear. Now, the cool bit about this is, I'll just quickly show you. So if you then suicide, okay, so I did a couple of runs to top up some lives. I'll give Luke a good amount of lives. I should be able to get through okay with that many. The game does give you continues. You get, I think, 2 or 3 continues with 3 lives each. But I mean, really, that can make it pretty difficult. So yeah, we're about to get the lightsaber from Obi-Wan. I've got a few misgivings about the lightsaber, but I shall explain more in just a second. I like the way that on that jump there, that it doesn't show you where it is. There's like no way of knowing. Or is it this one? Yeah, you can't see down. You just got to drop and hope for the best. And Obi-Wan should be here. A blast. Okay, so yeah, here is the lightsaber. Now, I remember as a kid getting the lightsaber in this game and thinking it was absolutely brilliant. Well, the excitement was soon subsided anyway, because the lightsaber is essentially useless in this game. I mean, it looks cool, but obviously it's very short range, and there's only a couple of bits where it's useful. One of those bits is actually right away, where you have to fight some banthas, and it can be perfect for them, because it sort of keeps them at a bit of a distance and takes their life away quite quickly. Anyway, going back to the new movie, if I may, quickly, one of the things that I've got to say about it that makes it great. So I've been watching Star Wars a long time, I love Star Wars, and I absolutely love the movie. And I've been trying for a long time to get my girlfriend to Star Wars. And I made her watch the original trilogy, and she thought they were okay. She was a little bit indifferent to them, I think. Especially Return of the Jedi, I don't think she thought a lot of that. And after having seen, I actually went to see The Force Awakens on my own the first time, and the second time I went, I took my girlfriend, and she is now a complete Star Wars convert and has since rewatched all of the other movies, including the dreadful prequels, everything, and absolutely loves Star Wars now. So that goes to show that the new movie has definitely got a lot right. You know, it's working for sort of new fans and old as well. So yeah. Another thing as well, when I came out of the cinema, like the buzz, like people absolutely, like the kids coming out and stuff, there were loads of kids when I went to see it. Yeah, they absolutely love the movie, so yeah, I'd give it a solid, I don't know, 9 out of 10 at least. Brilliant movie. Right, anyway, back to the game. We're progressing quite well. This is actually quite a big game. I think what I might do is, as I tend to do with my YouTube playthroughs, I might edit some bits out to keep it manageable. But we'll see how we go. See how many times we die first. The only downer about picking up all those lives was you lost my blaster, which yeah is annoying. The blast that you start with, this laser thing, is ridiculously weak. It's an absolute pea shooter. So that thing I've just grabbed there, thermal detonator, you'll remember that from Return of the Jedi. It just allows you to blow everything up that's on the screen. And this is the boss of the level, and I would without doubt edit this guy out, because especially using this laser, we're going to be here all day. All you've got to do is stay in this corner and jump up and down, and he won't come and get you. He won't do anything other than make a noise and a bit of a fuss. So yeah, you can sort of one-hand this bit if you want. Alright, that's the mutant warp rat defeated. That takes way too long. I'm sure, yeah, with the plasma gun that'll be a lot quicker, I can't remember, but yeah, I'm sure you can cut through them a lot faster. So we move onwards. I'm not sure what the next stage is actually. Right, it's another one of these Mode 7 jobs. Much the same affair, more Jawas to kill this time. I think you've got 20 instead of, I don't know, 10, something like that. And at the end of it, instead of heading towards the Sandcrawler, you move on to the next setting along in Star Wars A New Hope, which is Mos Eisley, of course, and eventually to the Cantina. And the Cantina is one of the most awful difficulty spikes I can remember in any game. The Cantina itself is a piece of cake. That's not the problem. The problem is the boss at the end of it. He is so cheap and annoying. But we'll talk more about that when I get there. I'll clean up these one rats and we shall head towards Mos Eisley. Alright, so that is the Jawas cleared up, and we now head towards Mos Eisley, which is the city looking thing over there. Yeah, that last level always reminds me of the cartoon from the 80s, Droids. I don't know if anyone remembers that. It was like a Star Wars spin-off based around C-3PO and R2. It's one of my earliest Star Wars memories, actually. Obviously, I was a little bit young for Star Wars, because it came out in '77. I wasn't born till '81. And Droids was one of my first sort of entries into the whole thing, which is kind of cool. I haven't seen it in years. I've been thinking about buying it on DVD, actually. I have found, though, with buying old cartoons, they're always a little bit disappointing. I really love my 80s cartoons, 80s and early 90s ones anyway, Mask and Thundercats, Ninja Turtles, Transformers, He-Man, Droids, all that stuff. And yeah, they can be, rewatching them as an adult, a little bit of the magic is obviously lost. But they're still kind of cool for, just to sort of check out again, I guess. So I suppose after slating them so much, I should talk about the Prequel Trilogy, which first released in 1999. Now, the first thing to say about them is that I went into those movies, I went into the cinema in 1999, firstly very excited, and secondly, desperate to like them. And it was to the point where I went to see Phantom Menace with a friend of mine, and we both came out, and the Phantom Menace is a terrible movie, and we both came out like, yeah, it was okay, it was, this was good, that was good, and blah blah blah. And yeah, that shows how desperate we were to like it, because rewatching it now and after a little bit of time sort of to digest it, the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones is even worse. Those three movies are dreadful, and George Lucas has a lot to answer for. They're really bad. I read this thing about George Lucas the other day which made me even crosser, and it was saying how the thing was the original trilogy that he made, firstly, were genius. I know he didn't direct Empire, which is the best one. He has specialised them. He's sort of made them into special editions. He's added CGI elements, and to me, the CGI elements, they just don't fit at all, and they're kind of they're awful. And I read that George Lucas doesn't want the original versions to be available, and that's why you can't buy them on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever. Now, I don't know whether things are going to change now that Disney have bought it. I hope so, because I really like them on Blu-ray. But if you are interested in seeing their films in their original form, then there is a guy called, I think he's called Harmon or something. He's a Czech guy, and he has meticulously, over a period of years, rebuilt the films, despecialised them and put them back in their original state without any CGI. And the famous scene where Han Solo shoots Greedo is put back because, of course, he changed it. George Lucas kind of made it more suitable for kids by making Greedo take a shot at Han first, rather than Han Solo just being a sort of stone cold killer sort of thing. Totally unnecessary. So yeah, check those out. Go and Google despecialised Star Wars, because you can watch the versions you would have seen when you were little, and they're awesome. They're really well done. Yeah, so back to the prequels. Now, Attack of the Clones, I've actually rewatched them all very recently, and I think Attack of the Clones is the worst Star Wars movie by a distance. And I'd go so far as to say it's unwatchable in parts, really, really bad. He went so nuts with CGI, and to be honest, that's the least of the film's problems, but it kind of looks like Final Fantasy 13 meets Monsters Inc. or something. Really crap. And the whole tone, setting, everything, he just got everything wrong. I think the choice of actors was wrong, using sort of famous actors, and not cool. Anyway, they haven't aged well, and if you haven't seen them, then dodge them. I'm sure most of you watched them hopeful as I was. So anyway, as you can see, the levels are sprawling, and this Mos Eisley one is especially sprawling. The Cantina as well, it's that classic 16-bit thing of scenes from movies just going on and on and on and on. The Cantina in the film's tiny, And in this game, it's like, yeah, a long way. Now here is Chewie, which is awesome because when you find Chewie, it means you can control Chewie. So I've picked Luke again, even though Chewie has got a lot of advantages. This is another cool thing about this game. You get to choose different characters. In the other one, you get to choose Leia as well, I think. In this one, you get a choice of Chewie, and later, I think after this level, you get to be Han Solo as well. So, unfortunately, Han Solo is a little bit like the lightsaber in that he's a bit of a disappointment once you find him, because he's nowhere near as he's not as strong as Chewie. Chewie's got a massive life bar, and he doesn't have the lightsaber like Luke, which, despite being fairly useless, does have its uses. So Han, I think maybe he's a bit quicker or something, I'm not sure. Basically, being Han is cool just because you get to be Han Solo. He doesn't have any sort of practical uses. I used to love the cantina scene in the first movie with the geezer getting his arm chopped off and that. I used to think that was so shocking when I was little. Looking at it now, it's really funny. It's kind of, it looks really crap. But yeah, I used to think it was cool. I'm also a big fan of the character Greedo. I think it's only a shame that he wasn't in it more. Now, there is a technique with the boss who I believe is here. Yeah, I think he's here. So what you've got to do is you've got to kind of back him up into the corner. You've got to almost be aggressive with him, even though he's going to rinse your life doing it. Because if you can back him up, then he can't hit you. So you've got to, try and keep him back there. Because as you see, that extendable net thing is super cheap. And if it hits you, you get yourself into big trouble. Don't know that we're going to make it. It's going to be close. That's awesome. I nearly always die on that guy, so that's cool. I was quite fortunate in that I had a few health swords, so my life bar was that much bigger. Woo. So this is the point where we get Han Solo. As I say though, he's not a huge amount of use, which is a shame. So as I'm Luke and I've still got the good blaster, I'll choose Luke. Now, often I end up choosing Chewie. When I die, I'll come back as Chewie probably. Because as I say, extended life bar, he becomes the best character in the game. I tend to finish the game with Chewie. I mean, other than the last level, which you can't do as Chewie. You'll see why when we get there. So yeah, heading back at Mos Eisley now. So I've been looking at buying up the Star Wars toys that I had when I was little. I mean, any of you guys that watch my channel regularly know that, you know, I collect a lot of retro computer games, loads of Nintendo stuff, Mega Drives, Sega stuff. Yeah, now that's obviously an expensive thing to get into. Well, let me tell you, Star Wars figure collecting is a nightmare, and my collection was pretty much over before it started. I mean, I did pick up a couple of the ones that I had loose, but yeah, I won't be getting into that anytime soon. Yeah, figure collecting Star Wars, crazy time to do it, I guess. I think, I mean, I do collect one or two action figures. I've got one or two Ninja Turtles, like mint on card and things, but now is definitely the worst possible time to be buying up any, especially the 1977 ones. Crazy money. Alright, so here's the boss, the maintenance droid. Now, he really is a piece of cake, this guy. You can just stand in the corner and blast him. So yeah, Empire Strikes Back is definitely my favourite Star Wars movie. It's interesting, I learned that the guy that directed Empire Strikes Back, I don't know why George Lucas didn't do it firstly, but I'm glad he didn't. Because I've come to the conclusion that George Lucas only made one amazing Star Wars movie, and it was the first one. But yeah, the guy that directed Empire Strikes Back, I think he's a Russian guy or something like that. I could have that wrong. But he co-wrote the new one, Force Awakens, which watching it makes a lot of sense. Like, it's very similar in tone, I guess, to Empire Strikes Back. Empire's like the dark one of the original trilogy. I mean, the first one's incredible. It's such a brilliant, iconic, like genre-defining movie. I'm trying not to sound too much like Mark Kermode, but it is really cool. But Empire's, Return of the Jedi is like the kind of more kiddie one, you know, with the Ewoks and things. I love Return of the Jedi, especially the end, on the unedited version. Yeah, Empire's really dark, and like it ends with, I mean, you all know, but yeah, Han in carbonite, and Luke's had his arm chopped off, and he's found out the truth about Darth Vader, and Yeah, Empire is one of my favourite movies of all time. Absolutely incredible film. I think when I was little, I can't remember, but I've got a feeling that I like Return of the Jedi best. I think it definitely works well for kids, that one. I know a lot of like real Star Wars aficionados don't rate it at all and think it's crap, but I definitely don't think it's crap. I really like all the scene at the start with Jabba and yeah, all of that. I think it's awesome. I suppose maybe if you were that much older when you first saw Empire Strikes Back, maybe going to Return of the Jedi from that, maybe that would affect your opinion of it, I suppose. Right, so this boss, I know this one well. He's annoying as hell. I'm probably going to die on him, and if I do, I should come back as Chewie. The good thing is I do have the good gun. So anyway, what you've got to do, get underneath his body and try and remain in the middle by sliding at the right time. This is easier said than done. And then chipping away at his weapons. Now that's a lot easier with the powerful gun, obviously. We could make this yet, I don't know, we'll see. Once you've destroyed all his weapons, he just flies around and you can just shoot him as much as you want. So, as you can see, the debris flying off and hitting me. Very annoying. Right, this is looking good, I think I'm going to make it. Oh no, I just thought something actually. I thought for a minute that boss like morphed into another one. I think there is a boss in this game where you kill it and then something else appears, but fortunately it wasn't that one because I had no life left. So again, yeah, here's the character select screen. I can choose anyone now. I will probably end up being Chewie, as I say, but at the moment Luke's got the powerful gun, so we will press on with Luke. The cool thing about being Chewie is he constantly shouts Chewbacca noises out as you run along, which is really, really awesome. Now, I've just remembered something as well. There's another annoying boss along here. So you're in like the hangar of the Death Star here, and you have to jump over TIE fighters as you go along. Not a direct scene from the film. I definitely don't remember the scene with Luke jumping over TIE fighters, but it's pretty cool anyway. Yeah, I'd be super interested to hear anyone, like, I'm sure loads of you guys will be big Star Wars fans. I'd be really interested to hear what you think of the new film and whether you rate it as much as I do. I really hope so, because I kind of feel like I've got Star Wars back after like all this time. Yeah, I'd be keen to hear your opinions on it. Another annoying bit along here, an annoying part of the journey along here, is the enemies. They kind of drop down from the ceiling, some of them, and as they do, they can knock you into these holes, and it's just instant death. It's really irritating. I've fallen in these holes a lot of times. I need to stop taking so many hits off these TIE fighters as well. Alright, so I farmed a few health swords to give Luke a pretty hefty life bar. Hopefully that, I mean, it's massive, it should be enough to get us through the boss. Definitely a good tip for this bit is make sure you've got a big life bar. Now, if I die on him, which is still possible, even with this massive life bar, I will have to do it with just Chewie's normal life bar, which could prove difficult. Now the good news, as you can see, there's an extra life there, and that is just after the checkpoint, so if you do die, and you can get back to that life each time, it's not going to be a big problem, because you can just get the life back that you've lost. And I'm getting hammered by TIE fighters here. Fuck off. Fuck. Alright, so I think we are coming towards the boss. I hope so. Yeah, here he is, right, Imperial Defense Droid. So, what you've got to do, firstly try and dodge that shit that he just spits out at you. Now you've got to get underneath him and go like behind him. There we go. And then, now this is kind of a war of attrition again. You can only hit him when he opens up. And the trouble is when he opens up, he fires out these two missiles. Now without the plasma gun that I've got, this is really difficult. Now with it, as you can see, his life bar is getting absolutely ripped. I think a lot of this game's difficulty comes from not having the right gun. Like if you can't keep your gun, you're in big trouble. It can still be done, it's just, you know, a lot harder, you'll lose a lot of your lives. Okay, so we are on to the Death Star, and I'm going to be Chewbacca because he's got a bigger life bar, and inside the Death Star where we are, this level's really cool by the way, but there are loads and loads of enemies, and a big life bar is important, and the one that I had with Luke wouldn't have carried over from the last level. I always think that's super cheap that they don't let you keep your life bar, but there we go. As you can see, Chewie starts with the second blaster, as I say. Now you've got to be really careful here, because that thing there on the floor, the little radio control car thing, that carries you along. And these things, they're instant kills. So these crusher things, I mean. And yeah, if you get trapped underneath it, you're dead. And there's really like no room for error there. So if you take a hit off an enemy whilst you're underneath, you just get killed. It's so annoying. I'll almost certainly lose a life or two doing it. Yeah, so how cool is it being Chewie? Awesome. I'm pretty sure that they got the same guy in the new movie to play Chewie as they did in the old one, which is brilliant. He's like 8 foot tall, this guy. He must be so old now. Okay, so here is the boss, and he just very cruelly killed me with absolutely his last hit, which was incredibly frustrating. He blew up at the same time as he killed me. Very annoying. Anyway, the good news is, on the way back to him, I grabbed the heat-seeking gun, which I didn't have last time, which is going to make this guy 1,000 times easier. There was a blaster power-up under one of those crushers, and yeah, I took a gamble and sort of jumped as I went under it and grabbed it, so that's making him a piece of cake. Probably should have done that the first time, but there we are. Yeah, this is the stage I got to last time when he killed me. I got into his second form, and yeah, that's how he got me. Very annoying. Anyway, Chewie's through, and that is the inside the Death Star clear. Okay, onwards. Now, all you've got to do here is climb up to the top. He seems to do a lot of this in this game. Yeah, climb up to the top and then take out the boss, which is like a tractor beam thing. Now, the good news is there's a way of doing this boss. Okay, that wasn't my best bit of jumping today. Yeah, there's a way of doing this boss where you barely take a hit, and I shall show you how to do that. If you fall down, don't fall down, basically, because you have to start again, I think. Do your absolute utmost not to fall down. It's a lot easier not to fall down if you've got this heat seeker gun, because enemies aren't going to hit you, which means you're not going to take a spill off the edge unless it's your own fault. Okay, so we are finally coming up towards the boss. Now what you've got to do on this boss, there's a kind of a trick to him where he can't really hit you as much as he should be able to. All you need to do is stay down here and use, as long as you've got the heat seeker, he can't hit you really, and you can blast him. So yeah, don't jump up onto the platforms above. Stand here and just repeatedly shoot with it, and the heat seeker will take out his projectiles. Most of them anyway, 1 or 2 might slip through, and yeah, you can just slowly chip away at him. I don't know how difficult he is if you climb up the top. I can't remember, I just know that this is how I always used to do it, so yeah, we'll stick with this technique, but it does take a little bit of time. Okay, so like half an hour later or so, yeah, you'll see that his life bar is almost gone, and mine is untouched, so yeah, that does the trick. And that takes out the track speed power level. And we're now on the last level of the game, which is another Mode 7 level, and this time you are flying the X-Wing as Luke around the top of the Death Star. Obi-Wan's about to be struck down by Darth. I hear the new movie, there's like a spin-off movie coming this year called Rogue One, and it's set before New Hope, and it's the rebels stealing the plans to the Death Star. I don't think it's J.J. Abrams, but it is. Yeah, it's just like another Disney Star Wars movie, not sort of in the original sort of series, if you like, sort of spin-off. Yeah. But yeah, I look forward to seeing that anyway. Right, surface of the Death Star. Now, this level sucks. It's more of a novelty, really. What you've got to do, again, just like on the Sandcrawler levels, you've got to destroy a certain amount of things. So it's you've got to kill a few towers and a few of the TIE fighters. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't really think there's much skill in this. It's a bit of luck. It's so disorientating, the graphics. Definitely more of a gimmick than anything, but I'm glad they put it in. Like, you've got to have this scene, and the next bit in a minute you've certainly got to have. So yeah, I'm glad it's there. So one more tower, and that's it, and we'll end up in the approach. Now what you've got to do along here is bizarrely not shoot the TIE fighters, but shoot the red like orbs that are flying at you. Like they're like the shots coming to get you, and you'll see that I've got like below me in the cockpit view, I've got like a shield marker, how many like hits more I can take. You should get through this all right, as long as you're quite rapid on the controls with your shooting and you don't miss too many of these things. On this one. And you'll get told to stay on target, obviously. It wouldn't be this scene without that. And when you've that's right. There's a countdown in the middle as well, which says like at the moment it's like 5,000 just below. When that reaches 0, that's when you've got to shoot the missile into the port to destroy the Death Star, and you do that using one of the R buttons. I think it's R1. I certainly hope so. Otherwise, it could be doing this bit again. The only other thing is Darth Vader appears in his TIE fighter at some point, and you have to blast that a little bit, I think. Yeah, there he is. So hammer that. And now we've got to do the famous shot at the end of the movie. They look good. I think we've done it. Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million. So that is Super Star Wars on the SNES completed. It can be quite a difficult game. Definitely the trick is to try and keep your weapons if you can. And if you can do that and try and hit bosses with big enough life bars that you've gathered up through the health lightsaber things, then it can definitely be got through. I love this game. I know it's flawed, but it's a brilliant 16-bit interpretation of Star Wars. And if you're as big a Star Wars fan as me, you're going to love it. The ending's really cool. I'll leave it on the vid. Thanks very much for watching again. Please like, comment, subscribe. Take care, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.